evaluate myself. I'm okay with mispronouncing
I have
wolf.
to put this a little bit into perspective because we actually went out and grabbed food and his girlfriend was with us. And then we talked about that story, and she just absolutely started to lose it when I showed her the video. I was like, I know, right? It's so cute. He doesn't have an L. So even she confirmed it. But yeah, you're getting there. Well, I'm impressed.
She cares about me. I care about her. That's all that matters. That's the story right there. We don't care about no L's. We're a strong, independent relationship. Okay? All right, Caldor? Put my foot down on that one.
I'm not Caldor. I don't know who you're talking to.
Garrosh banned out. Method learns quickly, and I love seeing this here. Keep Garrosh out of the hands of Sport Billy. He has been dominant on that hero. Garrosh continues to be a nuisance for a lot of our teams, and Method is done tackling it.
Yeah, and that map, of course, is even catering to him more so because he can just swap people and flip them into your own towers there. No, I really like this. I like the adjustment quite a bit because we've been talking...
You
Still
okay,
not 100%.
Oh, Trick Slayer, man, having the cost today. Don't worry, I got you, buddy. Look at the way, man.
It's actually your fault. You were contagious. It's your fault. You were sick for 2 days, and now that you're fine, I'm sick.
Oh, yeah, my fault, my fault. Well, now I'm all cleared up and good to go. I told you, man, a nice bath at night with the wine table while watching in North America HGC will clear that up for
wine
you.
table coming from?
Dr. Baldor's got you. If anyone else has any problems, let us know at Twitter. Hit us up with the hashtag HGC, and I will cure you with the best symptoms I can possibly do here. I got those remedies. Easy.
What are you doing? That is so not me. That's not even close.
Tweet at Caldor if you have any problems or are sick. We will make sure you get solved.
Yeah, exactly.
That's K-H-A-L-D-O-R. Hit him up as much as you can today. Please do so.
Thank you very much for that trip.
Getting you followers, man. All right, so Tracer's been banned out. Obvious reasons we stated it in game number one. First off, Tracer can be played by either of these teams, but looking at Method, it's a little bit more scary with Shrimpy being such a beast on that character. Him and Dignitas were the two teams that really started to showcase it when Tracer started to come back in HGC. Makes sense to ban him out. Issue is, Genji has become the new flavor of this week for Method, and there is Genji again.
You know what I realized today?
What's that?
Hair is making you sweaty. It's true.
You'll get used to it, don't worry.
It's actually true.
I'm wearing a bald cap with hair underneath it. Don't talk to me about sweaty, okay?
But I don't like it.
At least you have some air flowing through it. You like it? Is that what
I don't like it, no.
I'm sweaty and I like it.
I'm
What
like,
are
I'm
you
warm
talking
today.
about?
Like the entire time, I'm like, I'm warm today. What's this? And I'm like, oh, wait a second.
I will say the light like beaming straight onto my head here. This is actually your warm position. I don't know how you stand here all the time.
Yeah, I know, right?
No wonder why you're so tan. You don't go out in the sun. You come cast.
I'm not going out here. I just go casting. It's the weekend tan. It's the studio tan that I have. But going back to the draft here. So first of all, you talked about Garrosh adaptation. I love this because Method, as we said in the first draft, they probably came in and said, okay, let's see if we really have a problem with this. Other team faced it and they struggled against the Garrosh play that we had from Sport Billy. This map even is better for the hero. So let's just make sure that now we're banning it out. Last map, the impact was just too big. So first adjustment already. Makes it easier for Genji to have his plays throughout the game. And now we're having a Sonya and Abathur set up for Team Liquid, which already makes me happy just because Team Liquid seems to highly prioritize Abathur again. And that's actually pretty awesome. It was already weird that he disappeared a little bit. The meta shifted slightly, but Abathur, considering how much he was banned out in part 1, disappeared very, very quickly from the ban position and didn't really get picked up by a lot of the teams. So I really like that currently Team Liquid is willing to put up with him again, and so far it has already been a success for him too, or for them too. Abathur now winning the last game for them, and let's see how Method reacts to all of this.
I think there's some logic to Abathur falling out a little bit. The entire meta just became really aggressive and blowing up targets quickly. Yeah. That's something that Abathur doesn't really deal with too well. You need to slow down the game a little bit and be able to draw it out. And in a meta where if your opponent is able to get 2 to 3 kills in the early game, they can push it really aggressively and kind of open up the map. So I can see where Abathur fell out, but it seems like Team Liquid has found that routine to slow down the game just enough to get value out of that Abathur.
There's of course another aspect to it too. You already have a Genji on the first pick side for Method, so there's always the risk that if you don't pick Abathur, that Method, for example, takes him.
Sure.
And if that happens, you already of a sudden see Abathur Genji, and that is just absolutely brutal. So yeah.
Thinking about bans here, we got Hanzo, we got Genji popped in, a Nubrak as well. Both Malfurion and Stukov, by the way, have not been picked up in these first 5 slots, which is an anomaly. Typically, we don't see that. Now, there is a position here where Team Liquid can say, you know what, we have a second-tier support that we're willing to move into and get aggressive with. We're going to ban out Malfurion and force you to ban that Stukov. And if you don't, we take it away, because Team Liquid enjoys their Stukov, and if they have the chance, they're going to pick him up.
One of the things, just from the setup here, that I also found really interesting later.
Continue.
You know that I used to wear glasses or contact lenses at least, right? And then I got surgery. So, and then the entire time, because these are really dirty and they're magnifying glasses. So I was like looking at the game at the start when the game started, and I was just like, it's really tough to see it today. I need to get my glasses later. And I'm like, wait a second, what? And I was like, oh, this is so much better. I can see all of
the joke is over. You can take that off. It's okay. No one will crucify you.
Hey, I'm committed. Okay?
Oh, he's committed for the next 5 hours.
No, for the series.
Oh, look at this. They do go for the strat of banning out the Malfurion. But Method is willing to possibly give up Stukov here, thinking about banning Diablo instead. Diablo has been a powerhouse in this battleground lately.
I mean, if you start banning Stukov right now, then you're just limiting your own hero pool as well, because Liquid then has a choice between Rhaegar and Uther, and you are left with whatever standing. Unless, of course, you want to go into a completely different support. And, I mean, let's be honest, if anyone would probably do that, then I guess it's Method with a recent willingness to commit to unorthodox drafts with even pseudo-solo support Abathur. So, yeah, I could definitely see that. But Diablo is banned, so we're going to see if that's enough to set Liquid a little bit behind here, banning the top high-end supports.
So what do we think here? Are we thinking Stukov into ETC maybe for Team Liquid? We haven't seen Sport Billy in the ETC for a while, but it was something that he was showing for a couple of weeks. One of his favorite tanks to pick up. Muradin is definitely here too, as you mentioned, the Abathur synergy coming in, especially that level 13, being able to help out with the healing and keep that Muradin alive. 13-16 is where that really comes online, and he can control a backline like no other, which will be scary for Hanzo to deal with. And there it is. Good call, Trickslayer. You're so smart.
Yeah. Thank you. It's because I care.
Stop with the Care Bear thing. That was 2016 Trickster. We're 2018 Trickster. You need to be edgy and disappointed in life. Can you get me that, Trickster? That's a Trickster I'm used to.
But that's what I usually do.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know, man.
Disappointed in life? Is that a thing now as well?
I guess. I don't know, man. Everyone trying to psychoanalyze Trickster over here. Poor guy. Uther and Tyrael picked up. So now we have the protection. We have the dive available. We have the Anubrak factor as well, being able to get Cocoon, find a target that you want to lock down. You have the opening with the Dragon's Arrow, which we have seen getting much better for our teams. They are finding one target and they are deleting them from what it feels like across the map. Genji and Tyrael will be able to follow that up well. Method has a scary draft. However, looking over at Team Liquid, similar to game number 1, if they're able to slow down the flow of the battle, be able to get a couple ultras here, get towards level 10 in a safe manner, they have a great draft for late game.
I really like the way that Method is in general, just like approaching the meta right now. I think it's really funny because this style where you had Anubrak, Tyrael, that's very reminiscent of Fnatic, for example, of teams that just wanted to dive all day long, just brawl and just take that one time or one moment, that one opportunity and say, okay, this is our time to go, let's all into this and try and take them down. You initiate, you Cocoon, you drive the fight away from the Cocoon, use Tyrael with the Sanctification to simply force it, and there's a lot that they can do with that. Maiev now being used as well by Liquid on their last pick position. Maiev and an Abathur, Sonya and Abathur, Muradin, Abathur, great targets that we have all over the place for Hazobs. I'm really happy with the 2 drafts here. Both of the teams seem to be neck and neck when we look at the first map, and I would absolutely not mind if this would end up in a 5-mapper, because so far the series from draft to game finish has been very enjoyable.
I believe this is the 3rd time that Maiev has actually snuck through 4 Team Liquid on this battleground in particular for the 5th pick. Yeah. Somehow they just line up their drafts perfectly to get that Maiev through. You don't even think about that mixture. But yes, Nurok has been pretty effective on the character, moves in, be able to get those pull-ins. Probably going to be Abathur, played by Hasuops. I'm actually pretty excited for this. First off, I felt like Game 1 was pretty close and had their power spikes back and forth. Team Liquid even come back was great to see. And Towers of Doom, one of my favorite battlegrounds to watch our players be toe-to-toe on, gets me really pumped. Basically, looking at these drafts, seeing that aggression versus what Abathur has to slow down everything. It's going to be a fun one.
It's Liquid's map choice, and talking about maps just for a second before we're heading into our next one, I really want to also see Tomb today.
Yeah.
Because that is a map where Liquid has an absolute stellar record and it's not banned out, so I want to see if Method is maybe the first team to defeat them there. But before that happens, or before we get a chance of seeing that, we are going into Towers of Doom, where we have Method versus Team Liquid for the 2nd time this series.
Off we go here on the left side in the blue. Arcana on Anubarak, Nick on Hanzo, Athuro on Tyrael, Schwimpy playing Genji, and Kursen bringing in the Uther.
And over to the right side of the map, we have Team Liquid with Sportbilly on the front with Muradin. Splendor once again on his Stukov. Eternal on Sonya, Hazovs on Abathar, and Nurok on Maiev.
So for now, I'll be keeping an eye out again on Sportbilly with that Muradin, seeing if he can have the impact that you typically want out of a Muradin in the early game, landing those Storm Bolts, trying to maybe find a little bit of damage in there, but trying to build up that quest. And then on the other side, I'm going to be looking for Arcana. Again, new to the tank role here. Anubarak is a hero that he's been delivering on, his third time playing it in HGC. And we'll see if he's able to land those cocoons, but also find that Stukov. That seemed to be the real major strategy for Method in game number 1. Break Stukov, and you'll break Team Liquid. And so far, Splendor has been handling that pressure really well.
Yeah, Splendor is actually just doing so much better now that he doesn't have the shot caller anymore and can fully focus on his own style. Of course, those changes in shot calling happened a while back for them, but it's still pretty impressive. And also consider, Splendor at this point, once again, a lot of pressure on him, but he's still juking and jiving everywhere, making sure that he escapes this one. Nurok, Sportbilly, and Splendor able to get away. Great job by them as Method collapsed onto them.
Maiev is so annoying at how unkillable she can be sometimes, being able to escape there, but Nurok showing on full display of what she is capable of and why occasionally you will see her banned out here in the HGC. Now, in the middle, Arcana might be in trouble. Sportbilly getting the hat, wanted to move in for a Stormbolt, sadly disconnecting, not really landing it. Had he hit it, Splendor would have dropped down a silence, Nurok would have walked in, made sure he stayed in that silence, and they would have had a kill. But here's what Muradin does well with the hat. Getting aggressive onto the Zappers, and they'll be able to take it away. Team Liquid able to push into their opponent.
Zappas stolen by Team Liquid, and Kursen goes down. Liquid all of a sudden taking the mercenary camp and then also getting the kill after that. Great start for them. It looked at the beginning as if Method was the team starting to chase here as they were hunting Liquid down, but then TL turns it around. And a great job by them there. And I have to also come back to another point. We heard now that shot calling again changed slightly for Team Liquid as they have now Eternal as their main draft and shot caller. And to be honest, I think it's absolutely fascinating how much of an impact that had already. And given that Eternal is usually the offlaner, it's quite fascinating because traditionally it's very difficult for the offlaner to control what the foreman is doing. And Liquid always came from the school of thought that they said everybody needs to know what is expected from them. Hold your thought there though. Splendor going down as this time he's completely sandwiched by Method and there was no path for him to retreat to anymore. Nurok might also fall. Hazovs is trying to help him out and Nurok dies as we see Genji jumping in, has the trade, can jump out, and that's the double kill for Team Method.
Method finding that 5-man and grouping up at an instrumental time too, trying to set up before this 3 altar phase. I was going to initially highlight another point here is that Team Liquid was grouping up as 4 with that Sonya and looking for fights, letting Abathar kind of passively soak the middle and top lane. And this is enabled because Tyrael has been that side lane here for Method, and Tyrael not the best split pusher. He's not going to siege down a fort and kill it completely as a Sonya would or perhaps an Illidan. That's why Team Liquid went with that choice and have been looking for aggressive plays. But Method finally answering back with their own 5-man, able to grab one ult to the top left and looking for the middle.
Yeah, at this point, of course, we have the position taken by Method already pretty aggressively. Mid lane. Top lane is actually pushing heavily against Team Method. At some point, Genji will have to go up there or they are going to lose out on a significant chunk of experience. It's actually Tyrael who makes his way over. That would have been way too much experience lost, so they need to react to it, but that means that there are only 4 heroes now fighting for the altar. Here comes Maiev into the silence, and barely Arcana is able to get out of this. Sportbilly already jumping after him, trying to confirm the kill there. Can't really make that happen, but Maiev is already forcing them back as we see Team Liquid trying to go for the altar. There's still a couple of toxic nests around, Silence already on the ground, but Schwimpy able to sneak past. But now also has to be careful since the Stormbolt actually connects and Schwimpy has to zip away.
But Method has delayed for a long time. We're getting to a point where Sportbilly is actually getting low on mana on that Muradin. Also with the Scatter Arrow quest finishing up for Nick, he was able to finish that off consistently poking. So Method, although they lose that 4 points, finishing that level 1 quest is a great pickup for the Hanzo. And of course they were able to split out and start soaking that top lane. So we are neck and neck in experience as we head towards level 10. I'm actually still very surprised that Team Liquid was able to grab that altar. Good control by them.
Yeah, definitely good zoning there that they had as well. And once they started to also double channel, it really worked. They had the nest set up, the toxic ones by Abathur around it to grant vision. They were already pushing Genji to the top. And once his cooldowns were burned, they could focus on the entrance from the bottom side to make sure that nobody got close enough. Level 7 pickup on the side of Meridian is also super important here. It's of course one of the traditional ones. We see that a lot him going into give him the axe, but that's gonna be even better for him once that we are seeing the level 16 coming into play from Abathur. Now granted, they could go into the movement speed on 16. We have that seen more and more if you're going for the Carapace build, but if they want to focus on Meridian's attack damage, then they could also go into the slow, and that would really help him to chunk out damage later on in the game. So Abathur, definitely a huge impact here for Sport Billy, potentially. Shrimpy missing the Swift Strike, no damage as everybody was moving to the top, but here comes Arcana now, and we see Ethereal jumping into the fray as well.
Team Liquid needs to escape here. Splendor trying to retreat as much as he can, but with Shrimpy consistently dropping the shuriken strap out of his face, they eventually get the kill. And Method, once again, right before the altar phase, finds another kill, bringing that 5-man down and willing to get aggressive. And the thing is, there's only one altar here. We'll see if Team Liquid is looking to even attempt to delay this long enough, or if they'll just go ahead and set up A and defend and get level 10. They are already ahead in core shots, so they don't really have to grab this.
It's going to be a rough game for Stukov. Splendor is the only hero in the entire setup that has very little to no self-sustain and basically no escape. Everybody else has some kind of mobility, some kind of self-sustain that they have, so he's the easiest target to go for, and also one of the most impactful heroes on Team Liquid's setup, if he just can do whatever he wants with the lurking arm alone. So right now, Method, of course, has every incentive in the world to jump on Stukov. And for Splendor, that simply means that he has to be cautious. Once level 10 hits, things are going to become a little bit easier for them, simply because they can also use Abathur's copy to zone out for him. But until then, Method is going to jump every single time they see Stukov appear on the map.
That's the massive shove, too. Being able to get Genji away from a Stukov is such a great tool. 10 about to hit, as you were mentioning here. See what's going to be picked up. Last time we had a Maiev on this battleground, we actually wound up going for not Warden's Cage, but looking at the setup here for Team Liquid, I want to see if they're going to go for it. No, they continue to move into that containment disc, really seeming to enjoy that. Now, it is good against Ethereal. If you're able to land that containment disc right before Method's able to get the fight that they want, and then, of course, drop him into the containment field right before he wants to use Signification, that allows Team Liquid to force a fight very similar to a Cocoon.
Yeah, Lonely Arrow just coming through the map as well, as we saw that camp at the top lane taken away. So already Method thinking that maybe Liquid is going to contest the camp, which didn't really happen. So Hanzo using the ult there, but in just another 40 seconds he's going to have it back up. Whereas now, of course, with level 10, we're going to see Abathur's copy. And it's really interesting who he's going to use it on, because there are a lot of potential targets that you can use it for in those fights. Even a double Stukov, of course, absolutely possible here for them. Depending on the situation and where exactly the fight happens. We have a single altar coming up next. Both of the teams down to 32 points on their core. And there we go again.
And this is where it comes, yes, back to the Zappas, as both teams grab them here. Now, this is where it all comes down to rogues and how they get used. I'm watching Maiev. I want to see how that containment disc is going to pop out for them. Already, Nurok goes up there and gets a little bit of harassment there on the Phantom of Knives. Sony positioned on the bottom south bush to make sure that this flank does not come in from Kirsten and Nick. Now, with the Dragon's Arrow being available, Splendor has to be careful. We've already talked about it. He's actually the main target here for Method. If they can find a kill on him, they know they can take the team fight.
Abathur has now taken a pretty aggressive position up at the top, tries to get at least a bit of an experience soak with his body and not only with the symbiote. So both of the teams still shocking around here. Maiev jumping out, Nurok immediately attacked by Shrimpy. And help out, there's the arrow, and that's the end of Maiev.
Splendor next.
Already used, there's the kill against Splendor, and the copy of Harzov was simply too late. Yeah, Billy is also very likely to fall here, tries to buy himself some time to get his jump back up.
It's a triple!
But using the, yeah, it's a triple, baby. But that's it. I mean, 1 more second, 2 more seconds maybe, and he would have been able to jump out. That's why he used Avatar in this case, just to survive long enough he can use this escape tool. But that didn't work out for them. Eternal was at the top lane, was not with them, so the idea wasn't really to fully commit at this point anymore. But yeah, they just lost 3 heroes, experience, and the altar itself, of course, too. They're not too far behind right now when it comes to experience on the map. That's mainly because of Abathur doing a pretty good job soaking wherever he can. But things are, of course, starting to look a bit grim for them.
That it is. Method jumps up in experience, only about a half level, but they get that 13 before their opponents. There will be a 3 altar phase pretty soon for our team, so something that Method will have to consider that after being able to soak an altar. Sport Billy is starting to get to a point, though, where he's feeling a little bit confident with that 13 about to hit, being able to get that double clap for that double heal as for Muradin becomes a scary raid boss we were talking about with that out of the hat coming in to heal him and keep him alive.
I really want to see how Team Liquid is now going to deal with this, because it's pretty clear how exactly Method is trying to fight these fights. They have a huge priority on Maiev whenever the trade is down, and outside of that, they are jumping on Stukov every chance that they have. Team Liquid with a level 13 talent, on the other hand, has now gotten a bit more survivability, especially on Murder, of course. Having healing static available to you and the synergy with the level 4 talent is absolutely fantastic for Murder. Makes him an insanely dangerous force, and let's not forget that the so much transference on level 13 for Abathur, as usual, is just an absolutely fantastic tool for survivability.
Speaking of fantastic, also look at the 13 material, the Holy Ground coming in instead of the Law and Order. Have that for a while. I mean, it's good for boss control as well, but being able to, again, section off any target on the opposing team. If you can land it on Sonya when her spear's already been used, or lock down Splendor into a corner, that's where Method comes in, gets that Dragon Blade Genji, and cleans it up.
Absolutely true. I really think that the 13, on the other hand, is a bit of a better power spike for Liquid in general. I absolutely agree with you with the Holy Ground, by the way. And of course, there's some fantastic talents for Method as well. But survivability was Liquid's problem, and I think this is really addressed by the talents that they took. And it should make their fights a bit better. There's the double Sonya already. Hazop's trying to go for Arcana. First altar already taken, and that was the one where Method controlled it. 24 points on Team Liquid score. Here comes the Hanzo ult, gets the stun in, and down goes Sonya. Another kill confirmed. The containment disc comes out. Arcana was forced back, but he still can come back any moment now, and this starts to look more grim for Team Liquid by the second.
Uther keeping Nick alive, bringing the Divine Shielding and half a health bar. Now Method's in a position where they can contest this second altar and continue to have the lead against their opponents, even maybe looking for a kill as a Thorough and crew hold this front line. Eventually Team Liquid will give up on the fight as Sonya was down for them. Method, though, able to win that fight again because of Uther. First off, he stepped up and got a stun on Maiev, who was attempting to disrupt Genji, who was to the south, and then he saved the Hanzo. Great play by him.
And I have to say, I'm really looking at a scenario where I'm asking myself, where does this get better for Liquid? Is a level 16 talent where they really get a spike that is big enough so that they can come back into this? I think it's really just all about coordination for them right now. It's not going to be a game where you can fairly hope for a level 20, for example, to be reached. They need to get something done. And at least when we're looking at the pressure at the top lane, that's from a macro perspective what works in their favor. A kill against Arcana would already be a good start too. Arcana is about to fall, but is being kept alive at least for now. Can they get him before he has his cooldown ready?
Way.
The answer is no, they can. He was about to die twice in that fight, and they still weren't able to confirm it. Arcana still alive, able to move out here. Great arrow also used on the side of Hanzo. And at this point, Israel just tries to make the call to immediately go for boss.
Method with the teamwork. Absolutely being able to save a Nubrak there allows for them to be in this spot where they can contest against this boss. And remember, Holy Ground has been picked up. Sanification is also available. Now Team Liquid's trying to put some pressure on Thorough here with that Tyrael, trying to put him in a position where he may get picked off. He gets hit with a containment disc, but Curson jumps on in. Sanification will be available. Can they lock it down? Hasn't been interrupted yet. There it is, into the Holy Ground, and Method are able to take away the 4 shots.
They take the shots and they take the kills. Sonya is dead, and now they go for Sport Billy, and he is deleted. At that point, the level advantage, the talent advantage that we see for Method, of course, also playing a huge role. Nurok barely surviving there, should have been dead by all rights, but Splendor kept him in the game. 32 points still for Method, and now we have 3 altars spawning on the map. The Slug burrowing down to the bot lane, trying to get a channel through. Arrow sent across the map, but Hazovs is dodging it already and goes straight for the channel again. The left side easily claimed by Method, so they're getting the first 4 shots in, and they're going to confirm another 4 towards the top right. Well done. Hazovs at least able to sneak something, prevent them from losing all 3 of the altars. But Liquid is still 20 points on the core behind now, looking at 8 on their own.
I mean, the good news for Team Liquid, although they are very behind, 28-8, is they haven't lost map control yet. So if they get a kill or 2 and at least open up the bell towers, it's where they have that comeback. And so far, they've actually done a decent job on the top lane. That top left bell tower is down to half HP, so Team Liquid can look towards grabbing that next. And now that they've also made it through the hardest altar phase, the 3 altar phase, they are in a position where the next couple of phases will be next to each other, and it'll be that 1 to 2 spawn, which they can control if they are in a solid position. Abathur Mines, making sure to be on the top left altar, just for an example, can help them slow down Method. So I'm looking forward to seeing them if they can get that kill, and they're looking for it. Sport Billy already anchoring in a bush, and he finds a Twimpy.
Yeah, they're going for him, but there's no follow-up damage here. Sport Billy needs to be careful. Pops his avatar, goes straight for the stone form as well. Great silence, and oh my god, all of a sudden we're talking, boys. But the Divine Shield keeps Hanzo alive for now. What a play again here by Uther. Great moves by Kirsten to keep everybody alive. It's actually insane. Every single time Liquid sets the play up, every time they have an opportunity to get a kill, all of a sudden Uther is somehow able to destroy it. And also, of course, Sanctification in this case on Tyrael. What an absolute insane coordination here by Method to keep their boys alive.
Neuralink had 3 resets of Phantom Knives there, and they still couldn't get kills. That's, again, as you mentioned, it's completely bonkers how Method is able to keep their teammates alive. Now, they did have to use Sanctification and also Divine Shield in that fight, with Massive Shove being available and Wrath up soon, and also Maev's Containment Disc. We will have a heroic advantage for Team Liquid going into the next altar phase. Can they delay Method? It feels like it's getting to a point here where they have to take both.
Yeah, he definitely does. It's really, and this is why Hazobs is actually making the aggressive move to take it now himself, because he needs to be careful. If at any point Shrimpy jumps on him and hides somewhere, then he's in trouble. Now here's the fight. Shots are already fired. Here we go. This is the fight they need to win. If they don't win this one, then it's already very close to being lights out. And Splendor is already at the start of it in trouble. Containment is used. There's the kill against Stukov as Shrimpy just doesn't let up. Arcana is low, but again they can't take him down. Shrimpy is low. They don't get the kill. And now Ethereal is just attempting to chase them. For some reason, Liquid just is not able to get these kills. 10 kills for Method, and only 1 in the entire game for Team Liquid.
The mobility, that's what it is. Hanzo being able to jump over the walls, Genji as well escaping, Uther being in a prime position, and New Rock's burrow charge. Team Liquid gets close, but they never actually finish the cigar. But they have to here. They keep dancing around. With Abathur's hats, they are looking to try and maybe clear out this altar, but finally with the Ultimate Evolution falling, they will have to give up these 4 additional shots, and they'll look to control the map. But they are getting into a position where 1 more altar is the end of the game for them.
Or a boss as well. 1 minute and 30 seconds, and we're going to see the boss back up on the map. And keep in mind that we have the tools that we... Look at the tools that Method has to control the boss. We talked about it in the last fight. You have a Divine Shield to keep Genji alive so he can slice through the entire area when the fight starts over the control point. You have the level 13, the Holy Ground, and Tyrael. You have Cocoon available, the Sanctification, and of course also the Dragon's Arrow. There is so much for Method to win this. They are in the perfect spot in Liquid. They have to be aggressive, they have to look for fights, because just in 1 level, Method has level 20 as well. That's another advantage in their hands if they can make it that far.
I'm wondering why they're not quite babysitting this bottom altar here. I thought they would have send Sonya over and to grab the sappers and then babysit. Okay, now they are. Murden's... What's that?
To grab what?
To grab the Zappas. They're going to grab those and get them pushing in. I got you, Caldor. Murden, however, looking to catch someone over to Method. Trickslayer! I'm sorry, man. Baldur and Trickslayer, Baldur and Trickslayer. Say it 3 times, it'll be my head. Nurok harassing a little bit here, and they're doing their best to control this spell tower, and they want to hold it as long as possible. Having that additional shot is good for them, but also, if they are to lose an ultra to the top left corner, at least it'll only go down to 1 hit point on their core. So there's at least a nice fail-safe for them.
Yeah, Liquid is going for the Zappas now. They're trying to get him here, but the problem...
The Zappers tickling your throat, man. Yeah. You gotta be careful.
They're getting to me. The problem is the double ulti at the top lane now, and that makes this really... and the boss, of course, as well.
They're gonna do it, right?
It's gonna get very tricky.
They have to do this. I mean,
they can safely do it too, because at the bot lane you have vision.
Yeah, there's 3 down there. They cleared up pretty easily. And we'll see if Hasuab is able to grab this ultra to the top right corner. But we have seen Method multiple times try to send an arrow towards that Abathur. If it connects, especially with 20 hitting, there will be play of the game available. Probably going to get that natural agility, but something to consider as 20 does connect. It's going to be a second jump here for the Hanzo.
Yeah, already spotted. Spot Billy gets stunned. Avatar, Stone Form, starts to go for it. He needs the clap, he needs the healing static. And he's going to do that any second now. Has he used it already? Wasn't cooldown? Didn't proc it at the first. Going now for Kirsten here. Gets at least a bit of HP back, but that fight is already looking a bit dicey. Here comes the Divine Shield. We see Genji moving through. They have the 20. It's a Storm Talent advantage. Kirsten, on the other hand, is about to fall, but of course there's the Sanctification. And Uther is also the one hero you want to lose in that fight, especially with Redemption being up.
And Splendor topping everyone off. Kirsten low on health does move over and start to grab the altar. And with the top left bell tower taken, Team Liquid feels comfortable enough to possibly give this up. Method wanting to send Uther back to heal 20 is surfacing around the corner too. Team Liquid trying to buy some time here to either A, get a kill, or B, to get that 20 so they can test around this altar. They want and need to control this area. They know that the game will not be over, but still having an additional 5 shots for themselves would be great.
They have their 20. 15 for Method, 4 for Liquid. Liquid is back into this, at least for now. It's a 20 enough. They're trying to move in once again, and they're going for it. No cage, of course, but we have the tether. Uther goes down, but he has redemption at the same time. The first kill against Team Liquid as YF is dead, and Eternal is also in trouble. Once more, we are seeing Method just chasing them away here. Sportbilly is nearly out of mana and also in trouble as he's on the point, but the silence comes through. It's not enough to keep Sonya alive. She goes down, Eternal is dead, and now Method is focusing on Splendor once more.
They can kill this altar too. In the top left corner, they've killed enough. They're going to clear it out, and then they can grab the altar and win the game. Method starting to clear it. Going to have Abathur do everything he can to delay long enough to make sure that Bell Tower does not fall, but eventually it will. And Team Liquid is in position where Murden will have to come in and be the king of this altar. Can he stop 5 with the help of an Abathur hat? It's not looking like it's going to be possible.
He's the king of the mountain, but can he be the king of Towers of Doom? It's a bit doubtful. The channels have already started. Sportbilly is there and he's trying. Healing Steady coming through, but he's falling, he's dropping, and this is Shrimpy going to deliver the final blow. Tyrael and Genji taking him down, the copy eliminated, and this is going to be victory for Team Method as they are tying this series and take down Team Liquid on Towers of Doom.
Both these teams seeming to be evenly